Silence clung to the war room like a shroud. General Aiden Carver stood before the holographic display, his weathered face illuminated by the glow of distant stars and planetary systems. The map of Earth's solar system flickered, surrounded by the encroaching red territories of the Empire. He traced his finger along the defensive perimeter, now reduced to Earth and its immediate orbital stations. "How much time?" he asked, his voice low and gravelly from years of command. Lieutenant Finn Brooks stepped forward, his uniform pristine, despite the chaos that had engulfed their world in recent months. 24 hours, sir. The Empire's ultimatum expires at 600 tomorrow." Aiden nodded, his eyes never leaving the display. Earth stood alone, abandoned by its former allies, cut off from interstellar trade routes, and facing an enemy whose technological superiority was only matched by their ruthlessness. The Empire had appeared 3 years ago, emerging from uncharted space with weapons and ships beyond human comprehension. They claimed territory with surgical precision, obliterating resistance and installing puppet governments. And our response? Aiden finally looked up, scanning the faces of the remaining military leadership. Admiral Josephine Reyes, one of the few high-ranking officials who hadn't yet capitulated to the Empire, cleared her throat. "The President and the Security Council have drafted terms of surrender. They believe it's the only way to save what's left of humanity." Aiden's jaw tightened. "Surrender means extinction, just on their timeline instead of ours." "With respect, General," interrupted Commodore William Hayes, "we've lost 7 colony worlds in 3 months. Mars fell in a week. The Jupiter defensive line lasted all of 3 days. We have no allies, no reinforcements, and no technological advantage." Aiden turned away from the display, his eyes finding the viewport. Earth hung in the blackness of space, blue and green and perfect. His home. The only home humanity had left. "Then we make our own advantage," he said quietly. The room fell silent again. They'd all heard rumors of Carver's obsession, his secret project that had cost him his position in the official chain of command. The government had labeled him a renegade, stripped him of authority. Yet here he stood in the last war room humanity had left. "Sir," Brooks said hesitantly, "Project Black Fleet was deemed unfeasible by bureaucrats and politicians who'd rather kneel than fight." Aiden cut him off. "The same ones drafting surrender terms while the Empire glass our colonies." Admiral Reyes leaned forward. "Aiden, Black Fleet was a theoretical exercise. We don't have the resources or the technology." "We do," Aiden replied, entering a command sequence into the terminal. The holographic display shifted, revealing a hidden asteroid belt beyond Neptune's orbit. "And we have for the last 18 months. The display zoomed in, revealing massive shipyards built into hollowed-out asteroids. Within their cavernous interiors floated warships unlike any in Earth's naval registry. Sleek, predatory vessels with configurations that defied conventional spacefaring design. "My God," Hayes whispered. "How many?" 37 capital ships, 124 frigates and destroyers, support vessels, and fighter craft to match. Aiden's voice carried no triumph, only grim determination. Built from salvaged Empire tech, reverse-engineered and improved upon by the best minds Earth could hide away. "This is treason," Hayes said, though there was no conviction in his voice. The Security Council ordered us to die quietly," Aiden replied. "I refused the order." Admiral Reyes circled the display, studying the ships with an expert's eye. "These designs, they're not just copies of Empire technology." "No," Aiden agreed. "We learned from their strengths, but built to human specifications. They rely on overwhelming force and superior numbers. We focused on maneuverability, tactical flexibility, and one key advantage they don't expect. Which is? Brooks asked. Aiden's lips curved in a humorless smile. Humanity's absolute refusal to go extinct. Hayes shook his head, though Aiden could see calculation behind his eyes. Even with these ships, we're outnumbered 10-1, which is why we're not fighting a conventional war, Aiden replied. We strike hard at key targets, destabilize their command structure, and force them to recognize that conquering Earth will cost more than they're willing to pay. The Council will never authorize this, Hayes warned. I'm not asking for authorization. Aiden straightened, his full height imposing even in the spacious war room. I'm informing what remains of Earth's military leadership of our last best hope. You can join us, or you can sign the surrender documents. Your choice. The meeting dissolved shortly after, with Hayes departing immediately, presumably to inform what remained of civilian leadership. Reyes lingered, her expression troubled, but resolute. I'll provide what intelligence I can, she said quietly. But officially, I understand, Aiden nodded. Plausible deniability is all I can offer anyone now, when only Brooks remained. Aiden allowed himself a moment of vulnerability, leaning heavily against the display console. They're going to brand us traitors. Finn. With respect, sir, Brooks replied with a slight smile. I believe the term is humanity's last hope. Aiden closed his eyes briefly. Get me a secure channel to the fleet. It's time. Oui. The Imperial Dreadnought. Inevitable dominion hung in space above Earth's North American continent, its massive hull dwarfing the orbital defenses that surrounded the planet. On its command deck, Executor Vax Morin observed the blue world with clinical detachment, another primitive species about to be incorporated into the greater glory of the Empire. Status of the ultimatum? He asked, his translator implant converting his native language to human English. 17 Earth hours remaining. Executor, replied his second-in-command. We've detected increased communications between their military installations, but no significant movement of their naval assets. Morin nodded. Satisfied. Earth's resistance had been predictably futile, but impressively stubborn. Unlike many species who surrendered after the first demonstration of imperial might, humans had fought for every planetary body in their system. It was almost admirable in a primitive way. And our agent? He inquired. Admiral Lockhart continues to provide valuable intelligence. She confirms that Earth's military leadership is fractured, with most accepting the inevitability of surrender. Most? Morin raised an eyebrow ridge. There are complications. General Aiden Carver remains unaccounted for, along with several key military personnel loyal to him. Morin waved a dismissive hand. One rogue general changes nothing. Prepare the occupation protocol. When they surrender, I want troops on the ground within the hour. And if they refuse? Morin turned from the viewport, his expression coldly efficient. Then Earth becomes an example. Like Proxima Centauri. The unspoken threat hung in the air. Proxima had been reduced to a radioactive waste, its 3 billion inhabitants exterminated in a single day of orbital bombardment, a necessary demonstration to accelerate humanity's compliance. Sir, a communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a transmission from Earth. It's not on any recognized government frequency. Morin frowned. Put it through. The main display flickered, and a human face appeared. Male, middle-aged by their standards, with the bearing of a military commander. This is General Aiden Carver of Earth, the human said without preamble. I understand you're expecting our surrender. Morin stepped forward. General Carver, your reputation precedes you. I was informed you no longer held official authority. Official authority is overrated, Carver replied. I'm contacting you to correct a misunderstanding. And what misunderstanding would that be? That Earth will surrender. We will not. Morin allowed himself a small smile. General, surely you understand your situation. Your forces are decimated. Your colony's fallen. We've destroyed worlds more advanced than yours for lesser defiance. I understand perfectly, Carver said, his expression unchanging. That's why I'm offering you a different option. Withdraw your forces from Earth's solar system immediately. Laughter rippled through the command deck. Morin himself felt amusement at the human's audacity. Or what, General? Or face the consequences. The transmission cut abruptly. Morin shook his head, turning to his tactical officer. Trace that signal. Find Carver and eliminate him. He's becoming an irritant. Sir, the tactical officer frowned at his display. The signal originated from... That's impossible. Explain, Morin demanded. According to these readings, the transmission came from directly behind our... The entire dreadnought shuddered violently, alarms blaring throughout the command deck. Morin staggered, gripping a nearby console for support. We're under attack, the tactical officer shouted. Multiple vessels! They appeared out of nowhere! That's impossible, Morin snapped. Nothing can bypass our detection systems. The main display shifted to a tactical view of space around the inevitable Dominion, where moments before there had been nothing but empty space. Now there was a fleet of ships, unlike any human vessels they had encountered. Black, sleek predators with configurations that somehow echoed Imperial design while remaining distinctly alien. How many? Morin demanded. 37 capital ships. Sir, over 100 smaller vessels. They've already breached our outer defenses. Another impact rocked the dreadnought, more violently this time. Damage reports flooded in from all sections. Return fire! Launch all fighters! Morin ordered, his composure slipping for the first time. Contact the rest of the fleet. I want every available ship here now. On the display, the black ships moved with impossible precision, targeting the dreadnought's key systems with weapons that sliced through Imperial shields as if they weren't there. Sir, the communications officer's voice shook. We're receiving another transmission. Carver's face appeared again, this time with the faint smile of a predator that has caught its prey unaware. This is the Black Fleet, he said simply, and this is just the beginning. Mira Lockhart stood in her private quarters aboard the Imperial support vessel. Unwavering loyalty, watching the battle unfold through the specialized feed granted to her as an Imperial advisor. The position had been her salvation when the Empire first arrived, a way to ensure humanity had a voice in the new order, or so she had justified to herself. Now, watching black ships tear through the Imperial fleet like tissue paper, she felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Hope, mixed with shame. Aiden had done it. The mad bastard had actually done it. Her communication panel chimed. With trembling fingers, she accepted the incoming transmission, expecting Imperial command, demanding explanations. Instead, a face she hadn't seen in nearly 2 years appeared. Hello, Mira. Aiden Carver looked older, more weathered, but his eyes still held that same intensity that had once drawn her to him. Aiden, she whispered, what have you done? What you should have helped me do, he replied. No accusation in his tone, just statement of fact. It's not too late. She glanced nervously at her door. They're monitoring all communications. They'll know. No, they won't. The same technology that kept the Black Fleet hidden is keeping this channel secure. He paused. I need you. Mira. Earth needs you. She closed her eyes. I made my choice. You made a choice to survive, Aiden corrected. Now I'm giving you a chance to live again, to fight. Mira looked at the tactical display, where Imperial ships were falling back, regrouping around their flagship. The Black Fleet was taking losses too, but inflicting disproportionate damage. How? She asked, surprising herself. How did you build this without anyone knowing? Not without anyone knowing, Aiden replied. Without the Empire knowing. I had help from people who never stopped believing Earth deserved freedom. The technologies, reverse engineered, yes, but improved upon. The Empire relies on brute force and intimidation. We studied how they fight, how they think. Their arrogance makes them predictable. Another explosion bloomed silently in space as a Black Fleet destroyer sacrificed itself to take out an Imperial cruiser. They'll bring reinforcements, Mira warned. This is just one battle group. We're counting on it, Aiden replied. That's where you come in. Understanding dawned on her. You want me to feed you information. I want you to come home, Mira. But if you can't do that yet, then yes, I need what you know. She was silent for a long moment, the weight of her decisions these past years pressing down on her. She had told herself she was being pragmatic, ensuring humanity's survival through cooperation. But watching Aiden fight, truly fight, made her wonder if she'd simply been a coward. The Empire has 3 more battle groups within range, she said finally. They'll be here within 12 hours. The command codes change daily, but I can get you tomorrow's rotation. Relief washed over Aiden's face. Thank you. Don't, she cut him off. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because. She struggled to find the words. Because Earth deserves better than what I gave it. We all made choices. Mira, what matters is what we do now. She nodded, then hesitated. Aiden, what are your terms? The Empire won't just leave because of one defeat. No terms, Aiden replied, his expression hardening. No negotiations, no compromise. They leave our solar system, or the Black Fleet will hunt them to the edges of the galaxy. Mira felt a chill at his words. This was not the diplomatic officer she had known. This was someone forged in the crucible of loss and betrayal. I'll contact you again when I have the codes, she said. But Aiden, be careful. There's more at stake than just this battle. I know exactly what's at stake, he replied. That's why we can't lose. The transmission ended, leaving Mira alone with her thoughts and the distant flashes of battle. Lieutenant Finn Brooks ducked as sparks erupted from a nearby console. The bridge of the Defiance, Aiden's flagship, was a controlled chaos of damage reports and tactical commands. The Black Fleet had bloodied the Empire's nose, destroying 3 capital ships and numerous support vessels, but they had taken losses of their own. Shields at 40%, called the defensive systems officer. Portside weapons array compromised. Aiden stood at the central command station, his focus absolute as he directed the battle. Reroute power from non-essential systems. Destroyer Group 2. Execute flanking pattern Delta. Target their command and control nodes. Brooks monitored the tactical display as the smaller, nimbler ships of the Black Fleet darted between the massive Imperial vessels, striking with precision before pulling away. It was working. The Imperial formation was breaking apart. Individual ships trying to track the faster human vessels. General, Brooks reported. The inevitable Dominion is pulling back. They're trying to regroup with their support vessels. Aiden nodded. They're not used to being challenged. Their doctrine falls apart under pressure. He tapped a series of commands. All ships, focus fire on their flagship. Let's see how the Empire functions without its head. The Black Fleet responded with mechanical precision, converging on the massive dreadnought from multiple vectors. Imperial point defense systems blazed, catching several human fighters. But the capital ships pressed forward, unleashing salvos that hammered the dreadnought's shields. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving transmissions from Earth. Multiple governments are demanding explanations. The Security Council is threatening to officially censure any nation supporting our actions." Aiden didn't even look up. Ignore them. They'll thank us when this is over. Brooks moved closer to Aiden, lowering his voice. "Sir, civilian leadership is irrelevant right now, Lieutenant." Aiden cut him off. "Earth survival is what matters, not politics." A massive explosion lit up the view screen as one of the Black Fleet cruisers, the Intrepid, broke apart under concentrated Imperial fire. "Intrepid is gone," the tactical officer reported grimly. "All hands lost." Aiden's expression tightened, but he showed no other reaction. "Adjust formation. Fill the gap." Brooks studied his commander's face, seeing the toll each loss was taking, though Aiden would never show it openly. They had served together for 15 years, through peacetime and the early Imperial incursions. Brooks had been there when Aiden lost his family during the Mars bombardment, had watched as the government gradually sidelined the general for his extremist views on resistance. "Sir," Brooks said quietly, "Earth's orbital defenses are reporting movement. Our own military vessels are powering up weapons systems." This finally drew Aiden's full attention. "Against us or the Empire?" "Unclear, sir, but they're moving to engage." Aiden's jaw tightened. This is why we couldn't inform them. Politics over survival. Every time. The ship rocked as an Imperial blast grazed their shields. Damage reports flooded in from the lower decks. "We can't fight both," Brooks warned. Aiden turned back to the tactical display. "We won't have to. Send the second phase signal." Brooks hesitated only briefly before entering the command. Across Earth's surface and throughout its orbital installations, sleeper agents and loyal military personnel who had been secretly briefed on Black Fleet would now be activating, disrupting any attempt to interfere with Aiden's battle plan. "Sir," the tactical officer called out, "the dreadnought's shields are failing. We have an opening." Aiden leaned forward. "All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. This ends now." The inevitable Dominion shuddered as another barrage from the Black Fleet tore through its weakened shields. On the command deck, Executor Vax Morin struggled to maintain order as systems failed around him. "Reroute emergency power to forward shields," he commanded. "Where are our reinforcements?" 6 hours out, minimum," his second replied, her uniform singed from an electrical fire. "We've lost contact with the absolute truth and the undeniable right." Morin snarled in frustration. This was impossible. No primitive species had ever mounted such effective resistance. The ships they faced used technologies that matched or exceeded Imperial capabilities, wielded with a ferocity and tactical acumen that bordered on desperation. "Sir," the tactical officer reported, "the human vessels are converging. They appear to be preparing a concentrated strike on our primary power core." "Evacuate command staff to secondary control," Morin ordered. "Prepare the contingency protocol." His officers exchanged alarmed glances. The contingency protocol was a last resort, a targeted strike that would render Earth uninhabitable, but potentially save the Imperial fleet. "Sir," his second protested, "that would violate Directive 7 of the—" "I know what it violates," Morin snapped, "but I will not allow these primitives to humiliate the Empire. Begin the sequence." As his officers hurried to comply, Morin's personal communicator chimed with a priority signal, expecting High Command demanding explanations. He was surprised to see Admiral Lockhart's face instead. "Executor," she began without preamble. "I've discovered critical information about the enemy fleet." Morin's eyes narrowed. "Report." "They're using a modified version of your own shield modulation technology. But there's a weakness, a specific frequency that will disrupt their entire network." Hope flared within Morin. This was why human allies were valuable. Their understanding of their own kind's thinking. "Transmit the frequency immediately," he ordered. Lockhart nodded, sending a data packet. "I've included optimal firing solutions, but Executor, you must act quickly. They're preparing a final assault." "You've done well, Admiral. The Empire will remember your loyalty." As the transmission ended, Morin turned to his weapons officer. "Implement these parameters immediately. Target all enemy vessels." The officer worked quickly, uploading the new targeting data. "Ready, sir." "Fire," Morin commanded. The inevitable Dominions, remaining weapons, batteries discharged in unison, energy beams lancing out toward the Black Fleet ships. Morin watched with savage satisfaction as the beams struck and passed harmlessly through the Black Fleet's shields, continuing onward to impact the Dominion's own support vessels. "What?" Morin roared as explosions bloomed across his own fleet. "What happened?" "Sir," the tactical officer's voice shook. "Those weren't shield frequencies. They were our own fleet's identification codes. We just fired on our own ships." Understanding dawned on Morin with sickening clarity. "Lockhart betrayed us. Find her. Now." But it was too late. The Black Fleet surged forward, weapons concentrating on the now exposed weak points of the Imperial flagship. The inevitable Dominion convulsed as system after system failed. "Executor," his second shouted over the alarms. "We've lost weapons control. Engineering reports critical damage to the primary core." Morin staggered as the deck shifted beneath him. Through the viewport, he could see the sleek, predatory form of the human flagship approaching, its weapons primed for a killing blow. "All personnel to escape pods," he ordered, his voice hollow with defeat. "Abandon ship." Mira Lockhart moved swiftly through the corridors of the unwavering loyalty, her Imperial uniform drawing no suspicion as she approached the hangar bay. Behind her, chaos reigned as the ship responded to distress calls from the inevitable Dominion and other damaged Imperial vessels. The false targeting data she had transmitted to Morin had worked perfectly, causing the Imperial flagship to fire on its own support ships. The resulting confusion had given the Black Fleet the opening it needed. Now she had one more task to complete. Reaching the hangar, she approached a sleek Imperial shuttle, nodding to the guards stationed at the entrance. "Admiral Lockhart," one acknowledged, "this area is restricted during combat operations." She produced her command authorization. "Emergency deployment by order of Executor Morin. The flagship is compromised." The guards hesitated, then stepped aside. "Yes, Admiral. Will you require a pilot?" "That won't be necessary." Once inside the shuttle, Mira quickly accessed the ship's systems, disabling the tracking beacon and overriding the automated flight controls. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency. She had mentally rehearsed this moment countless times during her years of reluctant service to the Empire. As the shuttle's engines powered up, she opened a secure channel to the Defiance. "Aiden, I'm clear. Transmitting the command codes now." His voice came through immediately. "Received. We're opening a corridor for you. The Valiant will escort you in." Mira guided the shuttle out of the hangar, accelerating away from the Imperial vessel. Through the viewport, she could see the battle raging, the once mighty Imperial fleet in disarray, the Black Fleet pressing its advantage with relentless precision, and at the center, the inevitable Dominion, its hull breached in multiple sections, escape pods jettisoning in all directions. A Black Fleet destroyer, presumably the Valiant, moved alongside her shuttle, providing escort through the chaos. Mira felt a weight lifting from her shoulders with each kilometer she put between herself and the empire she had served for too long. "General Carver," she transmitted. "I'm sending the complete Imperial battle plans for this sector, reinforcement schedules, fleet compositions, command structures, everything." "You've done well, Mira," Aiden's voice replied. "But the battle isn't over yet," as if to emphasize his point. Space behind them lit up as the inevitable Dominion's power core finally breached. The massive dreadnought disintegrating in a spectacular explosion that momentarily outshone Earth itself. "One battle won," Mira agreed. "But the war is just beginning." The Situation Room beneath the Rocky Mountains had once been the pride of Earth's unified defense forces. Now it was a tomb of dead screens and abandoned stations. The civilian leadership having fled to more secure locations after the Black Fleet's emergence. Only Admiral Josephine Reyes remained, watching tactical feeds pirated from military satellites. The display showed what remained of the Imperial fleet retreating to the outer system, pursued by the victorious but damaged Black Fleet. The door hissed open behind her. She didn't need to turn to know who it was. "They've branded you a traitor," she said to Aiden as he entered. "You and everyone who followed you." "I expected nothing less," he replied, moving to stand beside her. His uniform was disheveled, his face lined with exhaustion from the 20-hour battle. "How bad?" "The Security Council has officially condemned the Black Fleet as a rogue military action. They're still trying to contact the Empire to continue surrender negotiations." Aiden shook his head in disgust. "Even after we've shown them we can fight back?" "Especially then," Reyes replied. "They're terrified. Aiden, not just of the Empire, but of you. You've shifted the balance of power." "The balance was already shifted. I just refused to accept it." Reyes turned to face him fully. "You won a battle, not the war. The Empire will return with overwhelming force." "I'm counting on it," Aiden said, his voice hardening. "Let them come. Each ship they send is one less protecting their core worlds. And now we know how they think, how they fight. And they know about the Black Fleet. They know we exist. They don't know how many ships we have, or where we're based. And they certainly don't know about the other fleets." Reyes's eyes widened. "Other fleets? Aiden, what have you done?" He smiled thinly. "Insurance. The Black Fleet was just the first. We have shipyards hidden throughout the system and beyond. Ships under construction, crews in training. Did you think I spent 2 years building just one fleet? The resources required, the personnel. Volunteers, scientists and engineers who refused to accept extinction. Military personnel who believed in Earth more than they believed in orders." He paused. "Humanity's best. Admiral." Reyes sank into a chair, the implications washing over her. "The civilian government will try to stop you. They'll see this as a military coup." "Let them try," Aiden replied without concern. "The people know the truth now. They've seen that the Empire can be fought, can be beaten. That changes everything." A new alert flashed on the tactical display. Reyes leaned forward, studying the readings. "Imperial communications are spiking across the system," she reported. "They're calling for reinforcements from neighboring sectors." "Good," Aiden said. "The more they commit to Earth, the more exposed they become elsewhere. Lieutenant Brooks has already departed with the Second Fleet to strike at their supply lines." "You're instigating a galactic war," Reyes said, her tone a mixture of awe and horror. "No, Admiral," Aiden corrected. "I'm ensuring humanity's survival. The Empire doesn't understand compromise or coexistence. They understand strength. Now, we're showing them ours." The door opened again. admitting Mira Lockhart. She had changed from her Imperial uniform into standard Earth military attire, though she wore no rank insignia. Her eyes met Aiden's briefly before she approached the tactical display. "The Imperial command structure is in chaos," she reported. "Executor Morin is confirmed dead. His second-in-command has assumed control of the remaining forces, but they're divided on strategy." "Recommendations?" Aiden asked. "Strike their communication relays in the Kuiper Belt," Mira replied without hesitation. "Cut them off from their chain of command. Force them to act independently, where their doctrinal rigidity becomes a weakness." Aiden nodded. "Make it happen." As Mira began issuing orders to the fleet, Reyes pulled Aiden aside. "Do you trust her?" she asked quietly. "After everything?" Aiden glanced at Mira, his expression unreadable. "I trust her commitment to Earth's freedom. The rest, time will tell." "And what about you, Aiden? What happens when this is over, if it's ever over?" "If we win," he replied, emphasizing the if. "I'll surrender myself to whatever authority remains for court-martial, but not before." Reyes studied him, seeing the toll these years had taken. The loss of his family on Mars, the betrayal by his own government, the burden of building a secret fleet while the world prepared to surrender. "That won't be necessary," she said finally. "Whatever happens, I'll stand with you. Officially. This time." A ghost of a smile crossed Aiden's face. "Thank you, Josephine." Their moment was interrupted as Lieutenant Brooks appeared on the main screen, transmission delayed by the distance to the outer system. "General," he reported, "the Second Fleet is in position. Imperial supply convoy sighted. Awaiting your order." Aiden straightened. Once again, the commander of humanity's last, best hope. "Engage at will, Lieutenant. Show them nowhere in this system is safe anymore." The battle for Earth's solar system raged for weeks, then months. Imperial reinforcements arrived as predicted, only to face not one, but 3 black fleets operating with coordinated precision. For every ship humanity lost, the Empire lost 3, their numerical superiority gradually eroding against human determination and tactical innovation. Earth itself remained divided. The civilian government, having failed in its attempts to negotiate surrender, now found itself increasingly irrelevant as military leaders rallied to Aiden's cause. What had begun as a rogue operation transformed into humanity's official response to Imperial aggression. 6 months after the first emergence of the Black Fleet, Aiden stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed orbital command station Resilience. Through the armored viewport, Earth rotated serenely below, while in the distance, the flashes of weapons fire marked the latest skirmish at the system's edge. "Report," he said as Mira entered, datapad in hand. "The Empire has withdrawn from the Jupiter perimeter," she replied. "Their remaining forces are consolidating around Neptune. Intelligence suggests they're awaiting a decision from their high command." "And Mars?" "Reclamation teams have begun assessing the damage. It will take years to make it habitable again, but it's a start." Aiden nodded, his gaze still fixed on the distant battle. "And the diplomatic channels?" "Open, finally." Mira moved to stand beside him. "The Empire has requested formal negotiations, not for surrender, ours or theirs, but for a cessation of hostilities." "They're stalling," Aiden said. "Buying time to regroup." "Perhaps," Mira agreed. "But it's also the first time they've acknowledged they can't simply overwhelm us. That's significant." Aiden turned to face her. In the months since her return, they had maintained a professional relationship. The past, both personal and political, set aside in favor of humanity's survival. But the unspoken history between them remained. Questions unasked and grievances unaired. "Do you regret it?" he asked suddenly. "Joining them?" Mira didn't pretend to misunderstand. "Every day. But I also know that without the intelligence I gathered while serving them, the Black Fleet might not have succeeded." She paused. "We all found different ways to fight. Aiden, some more effective than others. Victory gives you the luxury of that judgment," she replied, a hint of sharpness in her tone. "But we both know it could have gone differently." Before he could respond, Lieutenant Brooks entered, his expression urgent. "General, we're detecting a massive energy signature at the system's edge. It's like nothing we've seen before." The main display activated, showing a swirling distortion in space near Pluto's orbit. As they watched, a vessel emerged, dwarfing even the largest Imperial dreadnought. "What the hell is that?" Aiden demanded. "Unknown configuration," Brooks replied, "but it's broadcasting on Imperial frequencies. Sir, I think it's their high command." The implications were immediate. The Empire had never deployed its leadership to a contested system before. Either they were bringing overwhelming force to end the human resistance once and for all, or they're coming to negotiate, Mira realized aloud, in person. "Or to deliver an ultimatum," Aiden countered. "If they wanted to destroy us, they wouldn't send their leadership," Mira argued. "This is a recognition of our status as a legitimate adversary." Aiden studied the massive vessel, his mind calculating potential threats and opportunities. "Maintain battle readiness," he ordered Brooks. "But hold our forces at current positions. Let's see what they have to say." As Brooks departed to relay the commands, Aiden turned back to the viewport, his reflection superimposed over Earth's serene blue surface. "We've come a long way from that war room," he said quietly. "We have," Mira agreed, "but the fight isn't over." "It never will be," Aiden replied. "Freedom isn't a state you achieve. It's a condition you maintain through eternal vigilance." Is that what the Black Fleet has become? Eternal vigilance? Aiden considered the question, watching as distant ships repositioned, humanity's defenders preparing for whatever came next. "The Black Fleet is humanity's answer to an indifferent universe," he said finally. "A promise that we will never go quietly into extinction, that we will fight for our right to exist, against anyone or anything that threatens it." Mira placed a hand on his arm, the first personal contact they had shared in years. "Then we'd better get ready. The Empire is about to learn just how stubborn humanity can be." Aiden nodded, squaring his shoulders as a new transmission alert sounded. "Let's show them." The diplomatic chamber aboard the Resilience had been hastily converted from a tactical planning room. The massive central table still displayed star charts of the solar system, now overlaid with the current positions of both human and Imperial forces. Aiden stood at the head of the table, flanked by Admiral Reyes and Mira. Across from them, the Imperial delegation had just materialized via their advanced transportation technology. 3 tall, imposing figures in ornate armor that signified their high rank. "I am Sovereign Executor Thal Vorex," the central figure announced, the translator implant converting his speech to flawless English. "I speak with the full authority of the Galactic Empire." "General Aiden Carver," Aiden replied simply. "Earth Defense Force." Vorex's alien features revealed nothing, but his posture suggested surprise at the human's lack of deference. "You have caused the Empire considerable inconvenience, General Carver." "That was the intention," Aiden replied evenly, "though I would have preferred to cause considerably more." Vorex made a gesture that might have been amusement. "Directness, a human trait we have come to recognize." He gestured to the tactical display. "Your Black Fleet has proven unexpectedly effective. Our analysts are still debating how a primitive species achieved such technological advancement in secret." "Necessity," Aiden answered, You threatened our existence. We responded accordingly. Indeed. Vorex studied Aiden with alien intensity. In 300 cycles, no species has offered such resistance to imperial expansion. Most recognize the benefits of inclusion in our domain. We prefer self-determination, Admiral Reyes interjected. A preference we have come to acknowledge, Vorex replied. Which brings us to this unprecedented meeting. He activated a device on his wrist, and the tactical display shifted to show a sector of space far beyond Earth's solar system. Imperial territory glowed red, vast, and seemingly endless, with Earth's system a tiny blue dot at its periphery. The Empire spans thousands of worlds. General, Vorex stated, your resistance, while impressive, cannot hope to challenge our ultimate dominion. Yet here you are, Mira observed, not to accept our surrender, but to negotiate. Vorex turned his attention to her. Admiral Lockhart, your betrayal was unexpected. My loyalty was always to Earth, she replied without apology. As is my counsel now, state your terms. Vorex inclined his head slightly. The Empire proposes a cessation of hostilities under the following conditions. Earth and its solar system will be recognized as sovereign territory, independent of imperial control. In exchange, humanity will cease all offensive operations against imperial assets and return any captured technology. A stunned silence fell over the human side of the table. This was not an ultimatum, but a genuine offer of peace, something the Empire had never extended to any species in recorded history. Why? Aiden asked bluntly. Why offer terms now? Practicality, Vorex replied. The resources required to subdue Earth completely would exceed the strategic value of your system. The Empire expands through efficiency, not wasteful conflict. There's more to it than that. Aiden pressed. You've obliterated worlds for less resistance than we've offered. Vorex seemed to consider his words carefully. Your Black Fleet technology suggests potential that interests certain factions within Imperial leadership. We recognize the possibility of mutual benefit through cooperation rather than conquest. You want our innovations, Mira realized. The adaptations we made to your technology. Among other things, Vorex acknowledged, human unpredictability has proven both dangerous and potentially valuable. Aiden exchanged glances with his colleagues. The offer was better than they could have hoped for. Earth's independence guaranteed, the immediate threat of extinction removed. Yet the implications of technological exchange with the Empire raised new concerns. We'll need time to consult with Earth's remaining leadership, Admiral Reyes said diplomatically. Of course, Vorex agreed. But understand that this offer is unprecedented. The Empire does not typically negotiate with lesser powers. We've noticed, Aiden replied dryly. Rest assured, we appreciate the honor. As the meeting concluded and the Imperial delegation prepared to depart, Vorex addressed Aiden directly once more. General Carver, one question remains. What becomes of the Black Fleet should peace be established? Aiden's expression remained impassive. The Black Fleet will continue its primary mission, the defense of Earth and human interests. Peace doesn't eliminate the need for vigilance. Indeed not, Vorex agreed, something like respect in his alien gaze. The universe is vast and often hostile. Perhaps that is something our peoples have in common. After the Imperial delegation had departed, Aiden remained in the chamber with Mira and Reyes, the weight of the Empire's offer hanging in the air between them. They're afraid of us, Reyes said wonderingly. Not just of the Black Fleet, but of what we might become. They should be, Aiden replied. Humanity was backed into a corner. We fought our way out. If they had succeeded in subjugating Earth, we would never have stopped fighting. So what now? Mira asked. Do we accept their terms? Aiden moved to the viewport, looking out at Earth below and the stars beyond. In those distant points of light lay countless worlds, some under Imperial control, others perhaps fighting their own battles for survival. We accept, he said finally. But we also prepare. The Black Fleet remains operational, and we continue building. This isn't the end of humanity's challenges. It's the beginning of our emergence onto a larger stage. And you? Reyes asked. What happens to the traitor who saved Earth? Aiden smiled faintly. History can decide that. I have a fleet to maintain. As if to punctuate his words, a squadron of Black Fleet ships passed the viewport, their sleek forms silhouetted against Earth's blue horizon. No longer hidden, but a visible promise to both humanity and the watching universe. Earth would never surrender its freedom again. In the vast expanse of space, the balance of power had shifted. The Empire had encountered something unprecedented, a species that refused extinction, that fought back with unexpected ferocity and ingenuity. And though peace might now be possible, the Black Fleet would remain, a silent guardian against the darkness between the stars. Humanity had roared its defiance to the galaxy, and the galaxy, for the first time, had listened